Hello and welcome to another speed build. Today I'm building and decorating a little retro style diner that is going in my custom desert neighborhood I've been putting together for season 3 of my Asylum gameplay and story series. And I figured out a way to use constrained floor elevation to make a little sloped roof that fits the vibe of a rounded metal diner roof I feel like you often see. And so it made me want to build a retro diner. So I made this build 3 stories, but I'm gonna make the second and third story have really low walls so that I can make this sloped roof effect on the third floor and have one extra floor underneath it. Because sometimes when you use the constrained floor elevation sheet on a flat roof, weather like rain might come through the top floor into the room. So I put that second floor in between the first and third just to mitigate that in case it happens. It probably won't, but for instance in my circus build, there's always a puddle in Wilhelm's penthouse next to the fireplace because of the very wonky CFE usage in that build, I think. Then to make the low, slopey mansard-esque roof, I just set how high I want it to be using my little constrained floor elevation tower over here. And then I decide how much slope I want by lowering the terrain under the tower even more. I'm not sure how many clicks I did here, maybe 4. It doesn't really matter, it just depends on how steep you want the slope. Then I drag to lower the floor tiles on the perimeter of the roof to this new lower height. Then the fun cool part is we just use the floor tool and click to raise the edges so they make a nice slope. The thing is you want to click with the floor tool on the sections of floor that are higher, the one that is right behind the perimeter of lower floor tiles. If you click on the lower floor tile itself, it will raise them up all the way and get rid of the slope. So yeah, I probably should have demonstrated it using a different color floor tile to make it more obvious, so I apologize for that failed demonstration, but I just love making little raised roof shapes like this now. I think it's really cute and just evocative of old-timey or industrial type buildings. And I ended up lowering the constrained floor elevation tower even more because I really want a classic low trailer style diner. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't even really tell you what's happening here. I'm just redoing it over and over again at different heights because, you know, every so often I forget to delete a floor tile on the side and then it gets stuck at a weird angle and then I have to redo everything. And now I'm starting on the wall coverings outside. I want this place to look kind of old and dingy and faded. One advantage of putting the second story in between the roof and the first floor is that I was able to use this green tiled wall as a stripe along the top here, and I think it looks pretty cute. I also want the door to be tucked into the building by a tile or so, and I also put the green tiled wall around the door too to tie it all together. So this diner is going to be called the Ration Shack. It's going to have like a vaguely weird, crusty, military-ish jungle vibe, so you know, a lot of garish greens and camo type colors, like kind of off-putting a bit is sort of my plan. And the Ration Shack is the diner in my desert hood, Devil's Rock, that we're gonna get to see more of in season 3 of Asylum. I'm working hard at prepping everything, building new lots I need to make, making new sims, and trying to figure out certain story details going into the new season. So season 3 is probably a bit of a ways away, but I thought it could be fun to have you guys see the development of the hood and get some sneak peeks of places that we'll be visiting. I wanted there to be a divider between the different booth areas. Like sometimes when you're at a diner, they'll have big plants or tchotchkes behind your head so that you can't see the table behind you. So I just ended up placing counters together to make these displays. And then the little red thing I'm putting on them is the slot blocker that comes with Honeywell's counter desks at Mod The Sims, just to make sure Sims don't leave dirty plates or newspapers or whatever on the counters. And then I just had a ton of fun making these very weird, I mean, I don't know. It's like spooky Halloween camo jungle, like not definitely what one might think of when they think of how a diner looks, but I want it to kind of tie into the whole vibe I'm giving this town, which is sort of like retro-futurist, grunge, apocalypse challenge, sci-fi desert would be words that that I think maybe mushed together kind of capture the vibe I'm going for. I luckily already have these really cute vintage looking Simlish posters for coffee, hot chocolate, like eggs and pancakes and stuff. So those were very fitting for diner food. And I hunted for so long for recolors of the nightlife dining booths that I liked, and there weren't a ton that kind of fit the vibe I wanted, but I found a lot of them, and it took a really long time. I pinned them all to my Maxis Recolor Pinterest board under the comfort section, so if you want to see like maybe every recolor of these booths that exists, or at least that I could find, you can check that out. So far lately, besides the diner, I've also finished another lot in the hood, a sort of rundown cyberpunk casino. I took footage of it, so let me know if you want to see that, and hopefully that's another build we can look at together soon. I'm super excited to get started on season 3. I'm kind of nervous too. Like, I know I'm doing that thing where I'm doing so much planning and like just building more things and not just getting started, because I kind of am, putting pressure on myself. There is a part of me that's nervous because I'm definitely proud of how season 2 ended, and I would never want to have a lackluster season 3. Would devastate me. So I've definitely been having a lot of fun planning everything, but it's also in the back of my head that I'm like, okay, I need to stop planning. I just need to start doing it. So this is kind of a first step, doing a little speed build, easing us back into the world. And then we got to have a jukebox over here and this little bear figurine. And then I spent a really long time putting this cowboy hat on OMSP's to put it on his head. You can kind of see it doesn't really fully cover his head, but from the lower angle, you're like, all right, it's resting on his ear. And so he looks very jaunty, and I just love him and would die for him. The bear should probably have a name though, because I guess he's kind of like their mascot. So let me know if you guys have a good idea for a bear name. And so over here, I'm just gonna make like a little fake bar just for the aesthetic. The bar stools are usable, so people can be seated at them from the hostess stand and eat there, but I didn't include an actual bar on the lot. I love these little Fallout terminals by Yushi and the awesome animated screen recolors by Pixel Hate on Mod The Sims. I've been putting these little terminals all over the hood in every build. To make this area look more like a bar, I'm putting this 4:2 illuminated bottle wall I have, and also these beer crates and some wine bottles and stuff. I didn't put a real bar because I wanted Sims to use the hostess stand, and I didn't want to put too many different activities on the lot to distract them, and we all know they are very distractible. And then we'll have like a nice, fugly cork ceiling. And I changed the floor again, and I'm going to change the walls again too, because I think overall I probably spent like an hour and a half just changing the floor and the walls over and over again. Which is what I do every time I build anything, because I'm always like, if I base everything off the floor and walls and then I change them, it's not going to work. It has to be perfect from the beginning. I really was thinking about, filming and wanting to make this decorated enough, but also still big enough and with things not blocking each other, so I could easily film people eating at the different booths and things like that. And so I also included some little Sophie David effects that I love to use, like on the incense pots. And so hopefully when I come here, even just as a community lot, the kind of lighting and decor and animated effects will help set the tone, and I won't have to do too much fiddling around when I'm there. Against my better judgment, I'm putting a dartboard, even though I know someone is always going to be in the way using it, but it just looks really good here. So back over here is the kitchen and bathroom, and I don't know why, but whenever I build a restaurant in The Sims, I build the kitchen off the side like this, and I always give it this metal siding. I don't know why. For some reason, I'm like, that's how all restaurants are. I decorated the kitchen a bit to help it match the rest of the build, because at first I was like, whatever, I don't need to decorate it, I'm never going to go in here, it's just going to be NPCs, because I've been trying to stop myself from making new Sims, because I started my Asylum series in a custom hood that already existed. I'd already made lots of Sims and townies that I had just kind of been casually playing and wasn't super attached to. So now I'm always acutely aware of trying not to bloat my neighborhood with even more Sims, but after playtesting this lot and seeing the same old hostess who's at all my restaurants, I was like, no, I need a crusty, dusty desert diner family. So I did make a family to run this diner, and I was able to design and style them so that they fit the vibe of the town and the restaurant they're now running. And I found these really cool mod objects. I'll put a link to it in the description because I have to remember what they're called, that let you set jobs for multiple Sims in owned businesses. Like, I think normally you can just set the owner to do something, but this way when you have a family business, you can set every family member to do something. So now I set the father as the cook, the mother as the server, and their teen daughter as the hostess. And now when I come visit the business, even when I'm not controlling them, they're there, they're doing their set jobs, and it really makes the lot feel so much more alive and cool and just helps fit the story that I want. So that was really cool. It made me more excited about making family businesses, even with families that I don't really necessarily play that much, because I just haven't experimented with Open for Business that much in my own gameplay. It sounds so cool and immersive. I can definitely see why people get into running integrated neighborhoods where every business has a playable owner. I've never done that, and sadly I think I'm too disorganized to ever accomplish it. One fun thing about making it an own business too is that you set what they serve on the menu. So I was like, what should they serve here? Like burgers, pancakes, tropical ribs, and like jello or something. I think I made the menu kind of sad, but you know what? You get what you get. These curtains are repository to the jonesi bed blanket, and this airplane recolor is so perfect for this town's vibe. I'm pretty sure it's by amythestfenix, and if you ever want a very cozy and very obsessive night, I recommend you make yourself a cup of hot chocolate, go to her section at Sims 2 Artists, and go through all of her blind bags of jonesi recolors. I did that one night. I dragged every recolor into SimPE to see what it was, and there were so many awesome ones, so shouts out to her. In the front behind the hostess stand here, I'm just mixing together all the different food adverts I've been using throughout the build to make a bulletin board-esque area here where they can advertise items on the menu or maybe put flyers for events happening in town. And I can get rid of my constrained floor elevation tower, which is always the most satisfying and frightening part of the build because there's really no going back. And then one nice thing about a desert town is I feel like you can just do like a teeny bit of landscaping and it looks totally fine. It looks more unnatural if there's lots of plants. So now I can save it and we can take a quick little tour and see what's going on at the ration shack. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, and thanks for being patient. I've been sick and then catching up on work, so I know I haven't had a video in a little bit. I'm really excited to hopefully boot up my game this weekend and work on Season 3 a bit. Let me know what you guys are excited for and what you hope to see in the next season of Asylum. I would definitely love to hear your input. I'm really having a lot of fun getting to put this town together and just kind of making some new Sims to be background characters and side characters that, you know, we'll maybe get to know a little bit. Depends on what happens. I really don't know. That's what makes it fun. I definitely miss seeing all of our kooky Asylum friends, and I can't wait to be hanging out with you guys and them, hopefully pretty soon. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the Ration Shack, and I'll catch you guys next time.